Welcome everybody to Bluegrass Garage, where we're going to talk about this 1968 Pontiac GTO and our first experience with Bring a Trailer. Let's do it.
Full speed. Burnout.
So before we talk about the experience we had with Bring a Trailer, let's talk about the car first. So let's go around here, take a look at this car. Like I said, it's a 1968 Pontiac GTO. It is a real GTO, it is not a Judge, but let's go take a look. This GTO was originally Verdero, I believe I'm saying that correctly, green when it came from the factory. And the previous owner painted this car probably, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago. It was in the 90s. And he painted this real nice orange color, which, obviously looks really good. Stands out a lot more than green, but it's not the factory color. And it's a 25-year-old paint job, but it still looks really nice. Car goes down the road really nicely. Let's go take a look inside. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the car. But it's a mostly original interior. So we were consigned to sell the car. The current owner actually replaced these dash pieces here because the original wood grain ones were not in great shape. And I believe he wasn't aware that the GTO had the wood grain. It kind of was a little bit of a sticking point with some people, but that's easily changeable back if that's something that bothers you. For a driver car like this one is, I think it looks great, but just something to keep in mind. But as you can see from the interior, it's in really good shape. I say it's the original interior. According to the previous owner, it is. I'm not saying that there hasn't been carpet or something replaced at one point. Who knows? But looks really good inside there. Nice old school vinyl interior. Now the heart of this beast is a Pontiac 400. It is not the original engine, but it is a Pontiac 400. I believe it's out of a 69 model from what I recall from dating everything, but it is an original factory Muncie 4-speed. The current owner has done quite a bit of good quality work to the car. MSD ignition, Holley fuel injection, obviously some new dress up bits, brake boosters and master cylinders and water pumps and accessory drives and all the good stuff that makes the car just a really good driving car. And that's what it is. It's a really good driver car. It's not perfect, as I mentioned about the 25-year-old paint, but it's a really good driver car. Looks really good in here. Really shines up nicely under the light. It's a really good car. Now, let's talk about Bring a Trailer, because that's what this video is about. This is our first experience selling a car on Bring a Trailer. We've sold a lot of cars in the past on other platforms, mainly eBay Motors, and obviously locally with Facebook Marketplace and whatnot. But everyone pretty much said, oh, hey, you need to use Bring a Trailer. So that's what we did. Now, it was a little bit of a different experience than eBay Motors, for example. And I'm gonna go through a couple of these things. One, let me just put it right out there. We had way more visibility on Bring a Trailer than we did with eBay Motors, which is surprising because eBay Motors, it's worldwide, and I've sold cars from eBay Motors, other countries and everything. But this time around, that was not the case. We had a whole lot of visibility with the GTO, a whole lot of watchers and views and everything, and some comments and whatnot. Now, the biggest difference that I've found so far on doing this process is eBay Motors, you can just list what you want for whatever price you want, any kind of description you want. It's pretty much a free-for-all to do anything you want to do. there may be pros and cons to that. The pros are no one is, I guess, fact checking you. So take that however you want, but there's no big brother watching over you. The negative of that is you get a lot of probably not quality listings. With Bring a Trailer, you have to submit an application. And so the process was, we documented the car, the work was done to the car, we documented the car, took tons of pictures, recorded, data plate information and engine codes and all the documentation you would need to verify a car. Once we had all that, we submitted our application, and a representative from Bring a Trailer reviews your documents, reviews your application, and then they come back to you. In my case, it was a matter of a few days. It was less than a week, basically approving the listing, but they did have some questions. They wanted a few more specific pictures, and we started talking about price. So we had a price in mind that we were hopeful for getting, and then of course we had a price in mind for a reserve. They first mentioned or recommended we do a no reserve auction, and the owner of the car just didn't want to take that risk, especially being the first time we've actually sold on the platform. So we had to negotiate back and forth a few times with a reserve that was acceptable. I will say it was quite a bit lower than what the owner wanted, but again, you're kind of at the mercy of Bring a Trailer on this, and presumably they base it off of other sales of other cars they've listed either similarly or similar condition or whatever, and they want the sale, because if they get the sale, obviously they make money, so they want it as low as possible, and the seller obviously wants it as high as possible. So there's a little bit of a negotiation process. I will say that the conversations we had back and forth with the Bring a Trailer representative, even though we disagreed initially on the initial reserve, we came to a good agreement. They took our suggestions, we took some of their suggestions, and we came to a happy medium, and we got a fair reserve. Now, I will say, the big difference here also, as opposed to eBay, where you put your listing up and people can, of course, submit questions to you privately, and you can answer someone's questions about the vehicle condition or whatever it is. With Bring a Trailer, it's almost like social media, like a Facebook thread or whatever. Potential buyers can ask the question, and it's displayed publicly for everyone to see the question and for everyone to see your answer. So it encourages you to answer quickly and be responsive, to keep, because it's only a 7-day auction or whatever. So the quicker you can answer someone's question, it'll help hopefully translate into more bids and a sale. So that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Actually, it's kind of great because the potential buyers can also interact with each other. So in this case, I'm not a GTO expert, but there are a lot of GTO experts out there. So if someone has a question that maybe I can't answer, well, another member may know everything about GTOs, and they can actually answer the question for you, and hopefully that helps you, because if, in this case, it is a real GTO, so no problems there. But if someone had a question about a validity, or something's a real GTO or whatever kind of car it is, so it's a good thing. I think that's a great feature of Bring a Trailer, and it encourages discussion, and discussion is always good. Now, back to the listing. So, like I said, you submit your application and you give them all the data about the car, and you tell them what all you've done to it, anything that's wrong with it, details, basically everything. They make the listing based on the information you give them, and then you have to approve it. I've only done one. This is our first one, so if anyone else has more experience here, please let me know. But it was almost like the listing that they made was generated with, like ChatGPT or AI. It was very generic. I provided them a lot of details, and some of the information they came back with, the English didn't flow quite correctly. We had to change a few things. It wasn't terrible, but it was almost like an eBay where you use AI description. It was just very, very AI-like. Not saying that's a terrible thing because you can still understand it, but it didn't look like a human actually wrote everything. So you have to go back and forth sometimes and just say, hey, I recommend we change this to this. And in my case, they accepted my changes. I'm assuming that as long as it's a reasonable request, they're okay with doing that. Okay, so now this auction actually ended today. So the experience we have is, you know, getting the car ready for Bring a Trailer, getting it listed, answering questions, and now it technically has sold. That wind is ridiculous. So now the pickup part of it, so that's a little different. You can go through Bring a Trailer. They have a verified process where a third party manages the payment. We get paid. Either they can come pick the car up then, or they can send a truck. Also, Bring a Trailer can manage that, or they can send their own transport. Or that part I don't know yet because again, it just sold literally like 2 hours ago. So we'll see how that goes. I do know that the buyers are verified, hopefully. So as long as you represented the car correctly, there should be no problem with the pickup. That's what I hope. Now the buyer does have to pay a buyer's premium. That already comes out as soon as the sale is over from what I gathered. So you feel like at least they are legit people, unlike eBay where you never know. I've had quite a few flakers on there. So all that to say, do I recommend using Bring a Trailer over, say, eBay Motors or another platform? Well, I haven't used all the platforms yet. Like I haven't used Cars and Bids and all that, but I can tell you with Bring a Trailer, the car needs to be unique in some way. So if you just have a run-of-the-mill, even if it's a cool car, if it's a run-of-the-mill car, it doesn't seem like they would approve it. Obviously, something like this is not run-of-the-mill, kind of cool, you know. They're probably going to approve it if the condition is right. Again, I don't know. This is my first one. But do I recommend it? I'm going to say yes, with some caveats. Take some really good pictures. This was our first time. Probably didn't take the best pictures. I thought they were great pictures when I took them. Then when I watched the listing and the auction roll throughout the week and I looked at some other pictures, some other people took some fantastic pictures of their cars. And I feel like better pictures translate to a higher bid price. It would for me as well. Now, Bring a Trailer does offer the option for you to pay them to come take quality pictures of your car. And I think the price was, I don't know, $300 or $400. On a car like this, that may have been worth it because, you know, we're talking about a, you know, $20,000, $30,000 car. So it depends on the car. Now, if you're a good photographer or you just take your time, I think you can do just as well on your own. And next time, the next car we do, maybe that Firebird right there, we'll definitely take some better pictures. Not that the pictures were bad, I'll show you a couple, but you know, just take your time, make some really good pictures, spend some time, make yourself a really good auction, look presentable, look professional, answer the questions, and overall, I am very pleased with the result on Bring a Trailer, and I can't wait to do it again. So, appreciate you all spending some time with me. Can't wait to see you next time. All right, happy Thanksgiving.